America's $36 trillion in debt. That's a number so big, it almost stops meaning anything. But it's still money owed to someone. People point to China holding hundreds of billions in US bonds, yet China itself drowns in trillions of its own debt. Yeah, look at that, made in China. Their banks hold American debt, our banks hold theirs. Europe holds Asian debt, Asia holds European debt, every nation borrows, every nation lends, and together humanity now carries $300 trillion in debt collectively. Triple the size of everything the planet produces in a year. So who's it all owed to? The truth is that nobody really knows, because debt no longer moves in straight lines. It moves in loops, like I'm moving right now, in a circle. Can you see that? Wow. Governments borrow from citizens. Citizens lend through banks and pension funds. The interest flows back to those same citizens, and the wheel turns again. Debt has become the engine of the modern world. A self-spinning machine that works in one direction, as long as it never stops. Long before credit cards, debt was a promise. A bag of grain returned after harvest. A favor repaid in kind. The heck is this? Then kingdoms learned to monetize those promises. They sold their debts to the public. They called them bonds, debt bonds. Centuries later, after 1971, Nixon untied the money from gold.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
The promises became the currency themselves. Now, governments could print what they used to owe, and so they did. From that moment on, growth and debt became the same word.
The actual creation of this debt is self-annihilating in the long run because it's actually constraining future growth.
Yep.
You could say it's pulling it forward, but it's at the cost of later sacrifice. You have to service that debt. And so it's pulling down growth and productivity while at the same time increasing the service cost of debt, which is interest. And when those two things cross, it's like you're in a debt jubilee situation. It just has to blow up. I mean,
yeah.
What goes up must come down kind of thing.
Yeah, but debt jubilee, there will be no debt jubilee. Right?
I would say agreed. There has to be, I would just say default, implicit or explicit.
That's a better way. So they're trying. This is already a default, and they're trying to implicitly do that through inflation.
Yeah.
The different but when every country is trying to do the exact same thing, it just feeds the machine faster and faster, and misallocates capital faster and faster.
The United States borrows mostly from itself. Banks, insurers, pension funds, and your savings buy the bonds that fill the gap between what the government earns and what the government spends. This gap is called the federal deficit.
Federal deficit!
It's the distance between tax receipts collected from the citizens and the promises made to those citizens. Highways to build, soldiers to pay, retirements to secure, healthcare to provide. When Congress passes a budget, the Treasury prints those promises. And those promises, they're financed by you. Not directly, but through your savings account, your pension, your insurance policy. That's how the government's financed. The money that you set aside for the future is the same money the government spends today. Now, if it sounds circular, it's because it is. The government borrows from its citizens to fund its citizens, supposedly. And when it pays that interest, the money flows right back into the same loop. When the government pays the interest, that money doesn't just vanish into the ether, it flows back to the lenders. But here's the quiet truth. Not everyone is a lender. Most Americans live on the spending side of the ledger, paying taxes, buying groceries, servicing their own debts. Those interest payments go to those who already have capital to lend. It's your savings if you have them, someone else's if you don't. But I want to make a quick shout out to one of our partners here at Simply Bitcoin, sat123.com. Self-custody isn't just in your wallet, it's staying connected when the grid isn't. Sat123.com outfits you with satellite phones, privacy bundles, and Faraday bags, even with Starlink options. So you've got signal when everything else goes dark. And if you go to sat123.com right now and you put the promo code SIMPLY, you'll get 15% off your purchase. That's sat123.com. Even off-grid, you'll be on your terms.
The net result of this hyperinflation of the currency, and even the dollar at 7% a year, it's 7% monetary inflation, but they say it's only 2% inflation, but the result is the hurdle rate for companies is 8-9%. So what happens is they either LBO themselves, they basically have to load up on debt and go to negative working capital, like the Toys R Us situation, even Marvel Comics. Why does Marvel Comics have to have billions of dollars of debt like that? You know, why do we load great companies with lots of debt? It's because the combination of taxes and inflation makes it impossible for the equity to work or hold value. And so we have driven so many companies into debt and so many companies into bankruptcy. Or what happens is companies go on acquisition binges and they start buying up company after company after company because they have to grow their top line more than 7%, and the organic growth of all their divisions is less than 7%. And, you know, it's the result of all those things is capital destruction. We're destroying people's lives. We're destroying good jobs. We're destroying communities. We're destroying the manufacturing base of the country. Instead of having 100 different healthy companies that will all give, like, what happens if like there's only one university left in the world? You know, like, instead of having 100 choices, 100 cities, 100 companies, 100 colleges, 100 whatever, you end up just having the monopolies left.
The system rewards those who are positioned upstream. You know, the ones whose money works while they sleep. Those guys. If you think about it, every interest payment is a redistribution of time, from those who work for it to those whose money lends it out. The same cycle that keeps the economy alive is the same one that keeps it tilted. It's a closed loop, yes, but not an equal one. A rhythm that hums quietly in the background of modern life. Borrow, spend, earn, repeat. 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 Spend, earn, repeat. So if you were stuck in that system, wouldn't you want to get out? Wouldn't you want to own something that you're not paying a bank for? America is $36 trillion in debt, dudes, and the rest of the world is holding a similar staggering amount. That's not just a regional problem, that's a crumbling system. And we need something to exit out of that system. That's where Bitcoin comes in. Bitcoin is an open money, a borderless money, a finite money. It's unconfiscatable, and it's mathematically designed to rise in value over time. Should be a no-brainer. So if you don't want to get sucked into a $36 trillion vortex, best get some Bitcoin before there's no Bitcoin left for you. Well, do you want to go beyond stacking and actually create new sats? SAS Mining makes hosted Bitcoin mining straightforward. You own the rig, and they host and operate it in facilities powered by carbon-free energy. Your mined Bitcoin goes directly to your wallet. If you understand the power costs and risks, you can start with a single machine and scale as you learn. And if you go to Sazmining.com and put the promo code SIMPLYBITCOIN, you'll get $100 off your first rig. Book a call with one of their expert team members and start mining today at Sazmining.com. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you made it this far, kudos to you. I experimented a little bit on this one. I took my liberties. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Also, I want to give a couple of shout outs to some enjoyable comments that I received in my previous video, Why Bitcoin Booms in October. You can see it here. It's linked right here. So the first one comes from Tango Bado 977. Good show. If you don't know about money, wondering what's your profession, what do you know all about? Would like to see a video about that. Thank you for your comment very much, Tango Bado 977. I am a professional YouTube video maker. And I went to training to do that. But my background is in filmmaking, if that's what you're asking. Now, how could I make a video about filmmaking and Bitcoin? Comment number 2 is either restock the Simply Bitcoin hats or take them out of the store. Crying emoji. Nico, this comment is actually for you. So if you're listening, restock some Simply Bitcoin hats back in the store. I guess they're a hit. Anyway, I'm Oshins. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Until next time.